another exciting edition of Real Hazardous. Today, we take our friend Clint out and some of his friends from out of town. We decided to, do a little trolling and see if we can't find those kings again. The kings have been biting at MR real well for the past couple of weeks. So we figured, hey, what's a few more days? Maybe they're still there. So we figured we'd head out there first and give it a try. We got to MR and we went right to the track lines where we were catching them a few days earlier. And we started trolling there. But we weren't really catching them. I don't know if it was because it was the morning and the bite just hadn't picked up yet, or just because they weren't there in that spot anymore. So what we started to do was work around the MR area. Now MR, Montgomery Reef, is a bunch of different artificial and some natural structure in a fairly tight spot. There might be tugs, barges, culverts, stuff like that, scattered about every 0.3 to maybe a half mile apart. Fairly close. I mean, you can troll in between them searching for fish. So that's what we started doing. We started going to different tugs and wrecks, and we would troll over them and then we'd troll around them trying to find the kingfish. We troll over them a lot of times, we get a shark or barracuda. They like to stay right on the reef or wreck. But when we started moving out, that's where you'll find your kingfish a lot of times. And we got to one spot and we got, started catching kings. So what I would do, since there was no bait pods on the surface this time, and there was no specific bottom point that I saw on my depth recorder, and there were no birds, there was really nothing to do but use my GPS and kind of watch my track and where I'm catching fish. So I'd hit a point and I'd go back to that point and start making strips to look for a pattern. So since there was no visual cue or anything I could see, I would just rely on my GPS track and where I was catching fish. When we got a bite or hooked a fish or something, I would watch my point, and then after we got that fish, I started going back to it. I started, making strips going in that area, and I started noticing a pattern. That's where we're catching the fish, that's where they were at, so that's where we stayed. I guess the school had just moved just to a slightly different part of that MR area.
We're cheating. We're going to go double headers. When they run towards the boat, really fast, because they'll shaking their head as they're coming. And as soon as they get a little bit of slack, the little hooks come out so easy. Where's the fish at?
Up front. How many lines we got out? Got you.
There you go. Good job.
We had other strikes that we missed. We had bait fish cut in half. We had double headers, and it was pretty chaotic. There was a lot of chaos going on, but that's fun. It's exciting. Gets the adrenaline pumping,
Oh look, you see that?
Get it?
You might have that one. And now we're back on.
Now we were doing a few other things to help catch fish and help attract these kings to our spread. And that was a couple of chumming techniques. The first was live bait chumming. We had plenty of bait, and so we started, just throwing them out into our spread, a couple at a time, one or two here or there. And we would do that just periodically, or if we got like a bite or had a fish on, because sometimes that, you know, triggers them into kind of a feeding frenzy. You know, when other kings start biting and they start getting competitive. The other thing we were doing is using a chum block. I ground up some of the, you know, dead pogies that we have after each trip, and I freeze them into gallon jugs and then put them in a chum bag and slow troll them behind the boat. Now I think this worked especially well today because I was making strips. So since I was, you know, going here for a certain distance, turning around and coming back, I'm literally chumming just this one spot, kind of bringing them in. You know, if I were just driving around and moving, yeah, it would create a trail leading them to my bait. But in this case, I think it got them excited. It kept them in that zone and helped us catch fish.
Oh, you need me to work there, Clint?
I'm alright, he's straight behind the boat. You want to kind of work him up to the front?
I'll turn you a little left.
One just hitting that one. What's your other line? What's that? Yeah, let's go.
Are those baits you threw out there? They could be hitting those. Whoa, was that? Look, the bird just stuck.
He made a pretty good run.
So yeah, when you just find the fish, you know, use your GPS, just work an area. Sometimes it may not make sense, but they're there. Just pay attention and kind of mark it out on your GPS, whether you have to use track or put a waypoint or man overboard or something. You just fish that area until you stop catching them. You know, make use of chumming techniques and just have fun. We had a great day. We had 13 kingfish,
And the last thing we caught, I had a fish on, and I was like, man, this is fighting strange.
What you got there? You have any idea?
Hard to say. I don't think he's a kingfish.
No, that's not a king.
Probably a shark, but
Shark or cove?
hopefully it could be.
And I should have known what this was because this is not the first time this has happened this summer. But I'm fighting the fish and it comes up and it's another red snapper.
What size that fish?
So thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. Got some more videos coming up, a lot of good stuff. So subscribe for updates. Check out our website or our social media pages, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, and we'll see you next week.